Hi and welcome to another one of MicheleMarckKnitwear's podcasts. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Anyway, today's Saturday and it's my craft day. Every Saturday now is dedicated to one thing that I enjoy the most, and it is knitting. So today I want to talk about ferrule and colour work, mainly ferrule because obviously I've got a collection here to show you. So as you can see, I am wearing a version of the 1940s ferrule. You can see the bottom of it, and also the back. There's a bit of a story to tell you about this one, as you can imagine. I did the sleeves as it said on the pattern, which by the way this is my photocopy of it. A relative had the original and they just let me have a photocopy. It does come with a matching cardigan. I haven't knitted the cardigan, but I did manage to pick up a copy of the cardigan pattern, which is the best way. So you do have to buy the cardigan and the ferrule jumper separately, although I think it's in a Stitching Time Susan Crawford magazine or Susan Crawford book. You can actually get, I think she's got the actual cardigan and the jumper. I'm not 100% on that, but I think she has. So anyway, I knitted this quite a long time ago, photocopied it and took notes. Now I did knit the sleeves in the original. Something I didn't quite like them though, something I just seemed too big. So at the time I wasn't comfortable with having them like that. So I actually troublesomely tried to, as you can see, there's a bit of a ridge where I had trouble taking the sleeves off and then kind of working out a replacement sleeve based on another pattern. So I've never really been that 100% on this jumper, which is a shame because I love the colour and I think I use really good quality wool. But sadly, yeah, I kind of bodged up the sleeve. So at some point I will knit it again and maybe knit the cardigan that goes with it. So putting that aside, as you know, I do love vintage patterns and I've got a vast collection of them. So today I've just literally given you a few examples of some of my patterns. I've never knitted a glove set and scarf, and I really would love to. So this is a beautiful set, as you can see. Beautiful argyle and ferrule mittens, gloves and scarf. So who knows, I might knit that one at some point. I've had it quite a while and I just love looking at these patterns. They're so beautiful, aren't they? And the pictures, you could frame them really and have them decorating your house. Again, I've never knitted gloves, but these are beautiful as well. Look at some of those styles. So yeah, I can imagine it's quite fiddly. You'd have to use circular needle or pointed end-to-end needles. So we shall see. Another one of my patterns is a lovely pair of ferrule socks, argyle socks. Well, I'd love to knit those. So again, I'll look at it and then decide when I'm actually going to do that one. And just another example of an old Bairns wear pattern for socks. So yes, I've got quite a few selective patterns for socks. Also, I do like buying reference books. I've had this Scandinavian knitting book. An old work colleague gave this one to me. I've never actually really looked at it properly. It's kind of a coffee table book, you know, every now and again you'll pick it up and have a look. It's by Sheila McGregor, complete book of traditional Scandinavian knitting. So beautiful designs in there. So enough to give you a bit of inspiration as to, you know, some of the designs you can create yourself. I mean, I've got a graph book that I've been using to create patterns. I mean, that's a lovely pattern. I love things like that. Like, even if you just use 2 different colours, it's just really nice and easy, actually. I think 2-colour Ferrule is quite probably the easiest thing to do. I've got some lovely sweaters, which are probably like 3-ply, 4-ply wool. That's a lovely, nice fitted jumper again. At some point I will knit that one. And then we've got another one here. That's a really nice pattern. So that's another one I'd like to knit. Another one, that's another nice, my sort of nice tightly fitted jumpers. This one, that's quite a nice pattern, so I'd like to knit that one at some point. I love the adverts on the back of those old commercials. They're just so brilliant, aren't they? So quirky and cute. You don't get advertising like that these days for wool. As I love Stitchcraft, this is one in my collection. Quite a cute ones on the back of these little children. Look at those cute little girls dancing, holding hands on that style. Really cute. So yes, it's got some nice things in there. Some nice mittens again. I'd love to be able to knit some mittens, so that will be on my to-do list. Anyway, I just want to talk about the Mannequin Design. This is one I knitted a while ago. Now, as you can see, it's quite tight fitting. I was a bit naughty. I haven't been in the habit of knitting tension swatches. So I've been following quite a few sort of different podcasts of other knitters, and I've decided that going forward, I think that's the only way to get a proper idea of what needle size I should be using. So it's a beautiful one. It's such a shame because I love this one. It's got beautiful, it's plain at the back, but I've got lovely sort of vintage buttons on it, and the colourways is really lovely. I could have knitted it a bit longer as well, so if I'd have just given it another inch or so, then it would have been excellent. But I like the sleeves. As you can see, the top of the sleeves has got a lovely bit of a fair run on it as well, and they come up really lovely actually. But yeah, it's such a shame, but I have only worn that one once or twice. It's actually, the pattern is this one. This is a lovely one. I do like the Weldon's and the Best Way patterns of the 40s. But yeah, it's a beautiful one. But yeah, I will knit it again, maybe in a, I don't know, like a nice green, or who knows, a nice blue, which is blue is my favourite colour. But we shall see. Anyway, so I haven't really knitted a lot of Ferrule, so that's why I intend to knit a few, and obviously you do need to have quite a lot of time and attention to knitting them, so they're going to be like my project work rather than my day-to-day. As you've seen on other podcasts that I've been guests on, I have knitted for my husband. This was the one I knitted him. Yeah, and I'll show you it in a minute. It was a photocopy of a relative that had this pattern, so she let me photocopy it. So I kind of kept that as my master and took another photocopy of it. As you can see, that's Paul Nicholson, the actor. He did quite a lot of photography work, like for the knitting makers, designers. So yeah, he's a bit like Roger Moore. There was a lot of Paul Nicholson in the 70s and 80s on some of the knitting pattern designs. So anyway, so this was my version of that one, which I knitted for my husband. It's very Christmassy actually, and he did say maybe we shouldn't have had the red as the dominant colour on that one. Again, maybe I should have done some swatches, and then I would have realised that red was just a little bit overpowering. And yes, it's very Christmassy. It does come out at Christmas. Every Christmas this will come out. But yeah, I was quite pleased with the end result of that one. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you wouldn't know it was hand knitted. It does actually look, I think it looks machine knitted, how it came out. It's quite interesting really, because recently I do get inquiries from people asking me to do work for them, but because I'm so busy and I do work full time, it's just really impossible for me to give my time to other projects. And a lot of the inquiries I do receive aren't for vintage things, so I do have to kindly say thank you very much, but unfortunately I don't have the time. But anyway, so recently someone inquired as to whether I could knit some ladies' feral sweaters or pullovers for them. It was a person that actually employed knitters to knit things who then supplied it to a company. So me being nosy, I just looked on the company's website. I can't remember the name of it, but they were asking about £300 odd for a lady's pullover, which is all, in fairness, you know, the amount of work that goes into it, then it would command a high price. But unfortunately, if you don't buy directly from the person that knitted it, then that person that knitted it, that spent all that time, is not going to get paid much money. So you think about it, if you buy directly from the person, then you're going to get that garment a lot cheaper than buying it from a company. So I'm all for the small cottage industry, as I'm obviously, you know, have my own cottage industry, but it just shows that, you know, it's a big markup if you buy hand knitted sweaters in these big companies, you know, and £300 is a lot, but obviously they have high, you know, they're high, you know, they've got a market for selling them at that price. But it's such a shame, because the person, I didn't find out how much he was going to pay me to knit them, but I'm guessing it would be, you know, a small percentage of the price that they were actually selling them for. So I had to say thank you for asking, but no thank you, I just don't have the time. So anyway, so that was that one. Another example of my feral work, which you may have already seen, is this little ski jumper. I love this one. It's got a really, really deep rib, long sleeved, and I have got a little hat that goes with it, which I haven't quite finished yet, but I love this. Like, you know, this came out really well. Can't remember the wool I used for it, but it was good quality wool, and you know, I do enjoy wearing this. Although I haven't really worn it a lot, but I do intend to wear it when it gets really cold. So, my books, other books. I bought this one recently, an Alice Starmore. I think a lot of modern knitters love Alice Starmore. Well, I kind of, being a vintage knitter and only having sort of vintage patterns, and my world is kind of opening up at the moment to modern designers. So I'm paying close attention to some of the other podcasts that I'm watching, and I'm buying some books as I go along that are recommended. So this I thought would be a very good reference book, because it's got some lovely patterns and it just gives you inspiration if you want to follow like a pattern and create your own colourway and designs from the samples that are in this book. So at some point I may use it. Anyways, so just to let you know, so on the subject of feral, I decided I'm going to knit a kind of simple, basic, 2 colourway feral. So I saw this on eBay, someone was selling it, and I thought, that's really, really 80s. I know, it's a bit baggy around the sleeves, but I could actually adapt it and make it a bit more fitted. to go with my styling, although not too much fitted, but the sleeves are just a bit baggy at the top, so I'd have to adjust as I go along. This one, it's got a chart which is 22 stitches. So what I've actually done a little while ago, I've just literally just created that simple 22 stitch chart, and as I work, I don't work in the rounds, I work on straight needles, and I just knit in pieces, and the actual pattern is front back. I don't do steeking as a lot of modern knitters will do, so I just like to do things the simple and, well, the traditional way, because I'm into vintage, and I will do and follow tradition. So yes, so I've created this chart. Ignore that on the back, which is my mum's shopping. Yeah, so this is my little chart, which I rustled up on my note pages, and I have been knitting up the swatch, so I'm going to be a very good girl, and I'm going to start knitting swatches before I start any new jumpers. So this is coming along. It's supposed to be, it's 20 stitches, well, I've done 22, so it's 22 stitches because I followed the graph. 22 stitches, and it should measure 20 rows, should measure 10 centimetres. So I kind of, I do use a trusted ruler when I'm following patterns too. So yeah, so this is what I'm knitting it in a cream, a pure wool Aran, which is going to be my main colour. It's a lovely royal blue with a contrast acrylic cream. The reason I knit with acrylic as well as royal, well, one, it's cheaper, and two, it just gives you a bit more stretch, whereas sometimes, you know, and also I might not get too hot in it. And as this is going to be my contrast colour anyway, I think, you know, the predominant colour is the royal blue, so it's going to be quite nice, and it's got a bit of flex. The back, this is the back, so yeah, so it's quite simple. It's working out quite nice actually. So I'm on row 16, so I've got another four rows, and then I'll add my tension swatch. And it is actually working out. It's on 5mm needles, which the actual pattern tells you to use. So yes, that's coming out quite well. So I'm quite pleased with that. So yes, so that's it today. I thought I'd keep it short, but yeah, I'm looking forward to knitting this one. I'm going to start it. Obviously, we've got Christmas coming up, so I'll have quite a few hours. I've got a couple of days off in December too, so I'm going to be finishing that one off. So yes, so that's me and my fair roll knitting. Like I said, I haven't really knitted tons of fair roll because it does take a long time, but it's where my project work is going to lead me, I think, mostly because, as you know, I do sell things on my website, on Etsy. You can find me on Etsy on MicheleMarckKnitwear shop. Got a few samples there. Selling a few knitting sort of 40s knitting books too. So I try to sell a few things that, you know, maybe I don't have time to knit from. In between that, it's not fair roll, but it is colourway. I'm knitting my husband a cardigan. I'm just knitting the sleeves. Now, a lot of people said knit the sleeves together. So anyway, last night I was knitting away, and I thought, one of the sleeves just didn't look right, and then I realised, I'd gone wrong. So all well and good knitting the sleeves together until you go wrong. So what I did, I sat there, so I got another needle, so tried to get one sleeve out of the way. I had to make a note of what row I was on. I did go back I don't like sort of taking it all off and unravelling it because you can get in a pickle. So I actually painstakingly just went back about 10 rows, and then I actually got back to where I was. But then I decided, well, okay, so maybe I introduce a third needle, because I'd rather just, because it's really heavy having two, and you know, obviously it's husband size, so husband size is a lot bigger than me, and it gets weighty on the needle. I've got a long needle to do it with, so I've decided I'm introduced another needle, a third needle, so that I haven't always got both on one needle at a time. So yeah, so that's what I'm knitting. I've done quite well actually. I've knitted the front, the back, and now I'm doing the 2 sleeves. So I think we're on track for Christmas. So that's his present for Christmas. So yeah, so that's the main project, and this little one with my swatch is my little treat, which probably be ready by my birthday in January, hopefully. So watch this space. Next time I'll come on, give you an update on where I am with it, or I'll share on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram as well. So yes, so I'll leave some of the details for you, links to my website in the bottom of this. I hope you've enjoyed it today. Try to make it a bit more interesting. I don't like to sort of waffle on too much, and hopefully you've enjoyed that. Anyway, so I must go now. Lots to do, and obviously lots to do means lots of knitting. Anyway, thank you for your time, and enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much.